the Para Cave podcast, proudly brought to you by Rubbish Removal Kings, The Corner Post, Flash Conveyancing, Parramatta Leagues Club, Wine Barrels Event Hire Sydney, and Wick Coffee, proud sponsors of the Para Cave podcast.
We are Flash Conveyancing, your property legal team, and you're listening the Para Cave podcast. If you are buying or selling property in New South Wales, call us. Call Flash Conveyancing.
Let's go! Welcome back to another show. Hi, how are ya? It's the Para Cave podcast coming at ya. Turn it up, feel the vibe, blue and gold. Step inside the cave. Yeah. Easy try in the corner. Here's your host, Troy Warner. Coming to you live from the world famous Para Cave.
Hi, how are ya? Welcome back to another episode of the Para Cave podcast. Troy Warner here, and this is the NRL Preview podcast for round number 6, already 6 weeks into the competition. Joining me once again, he's back. I did the review of the Eels game without him, unfortunately, because he was pretty fired up, but he's back for this one, the NRL Preview podcast. Ben from the Corner Post. Hi, how are ya?
I am doing a little bit better than I was this time yesterday. I can tell you that I was pretty fired up, and I wasn't much in the mood to take phone calls and answer questions at the time. So I've given myself a day to
Right.
decompress from that absolute robbery. And I am keeping a close eye on the referees' team list this week to see if a certain somebody's named.
Well, I do believe, and I'll give you the good news, I don't think he is named as a referee this weekend. So,
Well, that's justice for all right there.
yes. So, look, it's great to have you back.
Justice for young and old.
Look, it was a pretty hard review to do. The mood wasn't too good, as you could expect. But, look, you and many, many others were probably feeling the same. But, look, that's in the past now. That's behind us. Let's look to the future. Round number 6. And, look, another cracking round of rugby league coming up. There is a Queensland derby. There is a double header over in Perth. And the last game of the round as well is shaping up as a top 4 battle, and can you believe it? It is a top 4 battle between the second place West Tigers and the third place Newcastle Knights out of Campbelltown. So, look, there's some cracking rugby league, but it all kicks off on Thursday night at Accor Stadium. The Bulldogs taking on the Panthers. The Panthers are on fire, 5 from 5, top of the table. The Bulldogs sit in 9th spot after a couple of losses to the Rabbitohs and the Knights. Look, I don't know if we should talk about this one too much, because I don't know if there's much to say about it, whether it's just going to be another Penrith whitewash. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, look, Bulldogs are really not in a good place right now. That 9th place on the ladder is, of course, skewed due to the fact that they got away with absolute daylight robbery against the Dragons in round 1 and have also had a bye. So I don't think they are looking anywhere near as good as that 9th place suggests right now, and Penrith are looking damn near unstoppable. So it's going to be a tough game for the Bulldogs. They've got a few injuries, which a lot of the clubs in the NRL can say at the moment as well. It has been an injury-laden season for a lot of the league. But I don't think there is anything stopping that Penrith Panthers train right now. They are absolutely motoring down the track.
Yeah, absolutely. The last time they played was at Accor Stadium, and it was finals week number 2, and the Panthers absolutely smashed them, 46 points to 26. Look, different times back then. But look, the Bulldogs, they got Bronson Sherry back this week. He is in Stephen Crichton's position. He is out, which is bad news for the Bulldogs. Good news for Bronson. But apparently I just heard on NRL 360 tonight that apparently Phil Gould was explaining on 100% footy the reason why he didn't get a run against the Rabbitohs. The fact was, when Stephen Crichton originally came off, or they thought it was only going to be for about 5-10 minutes or 5 minutes, and he was expected to maybe go back onto the field. So he didn't want the coach Cameron Serrato didn't want to put Bronson on for 5 minutes as a centre. He put on Sean O'Sullivan, who could play a couple of positions just in case anything else could happen. It did turn out that it was longer than obviously 5 minutes. It was the whole rest of the game. So, look, maybe that's just Phil Gould and Cameron Serrato saving face.
Yeah, is that Phil Gould the same man that said he hadn't spoken to Lachlan Galvin, or?
Yeah, look,
is that a different Phil Gould that we're talking about? Because I don't believe a word that guy says anymore.
Yeah, well, yes, it is. So, look, maybe that's just...
He's the best in the business at covering up a bit of a scandal. So.
He is, but Bronson's back this week, so in his favoured position. The Panthers, Mitch Kenny comes back for them after his one-match lousy suspension. We'll just call it that one. I mean, I guess...
comment on that one?
No, I guess we can say that being Para fans, but yeah, one match for his indiscretion. So he is back, and Freddie Lussick goes back to number 19. 200th game for Nathan Cleary. Can you believe he's been around for 199 games in the NRL?
That's 199 times I've had to suppress the look of his chin.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, yeah, no, I think it was about 20... I'm going to say 18 or 19. I'm not too sure when he made his debut, but let me just have a look here. 2016.
It feels like it was a bit earlier than that.
2016 it was, the 4th of June.
I believe it was around that time that they had the bit of a falling out with the Tigers management and whatnot as well, wasn't that?
I'm not 100% sure when Ivan was at the Tigers, but yeah, 4th of June 2016. 4th of June is obviously a famous date in this household. It's my lovely wife Amanda's birthday. So, yeah, 2016. So 10 years he's been playing. So,
I tell you what, Troy, a lot of blokes in the audience right now are going to be thinking to themselves what I just thought to myself, and that was bloody hell. How the hell do you remember that off the bat?
I'm pretty good with dates, to be honest. And one way that I do...
I'm definitely not a numbers man myself.
Yeah, well...
I remember... I tell you what, I remember the most random, stupid stats, but I cannot remember a phone number or a birthday. I'm bad with names. I don't know how you are with names. I'm pretty bad with names. Great with faces. Great with seeing things that I can physically see, but names and numbers, they elude me.
Well, thanks, Greg, for that. I really appreciate that. Look, Amanda hates it. I generally remember things by football games. So, certain football games, certain things happen, and I just remember that, and she hates it. But I'm like, oh, yeah, that's the time Parramatta played such and such here and there and whatever. But
see, I rely on my grandmother. My grandmother is an absolute encyclopedia when it comes to birthdays and phone numbers. If I'm ever forgetting anything, I just pick up the phone and call Nan, and she's generally got the answer. So you might have a bit of an old school brain like her.
Yeah, maybe, perhaps. Well, I am old, so... but anyway. Look, we're getting sidetracked there, but I guess we're both tipping the Panthers in that one.
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%.
Right.
I don't think I don't think even the most staunch of Bulldogs fans can really trust them heading into this one, unfortunately.
Alrighty, well, moving on to the next game down in Wollongong, from a team that's won 5 from 5 to a team that unfortunately has lost 5 from 5. That is the Dragons taking on the Sea Eagles. They haven't done much better, to be honest. They got their first win last weekend against the Dolphins, put on a clinic up there in Redcliffe, put 50 points on the Dolphins, so they can't win the comp this year apparently. But for the Dragons, Tyrell Sloan comes into fullback for Clint Gutherson, who is injured. Daniel Atkinson moves to 5'8" from halfback. Kyle Flanagan goes to halfback. He is back after his concussion that he suffered against the Gold Coast Titans a couple of weeks ago. So the Sea Eagles, Jason Saab is back for them. So that's good news for them. Bit of speed for them. Still no Joey Walsh. He's in the number 20 jersey. I think they're just holding out on him. But, I mean, you wouldn't make any more changes to a winning side that absolutely smashed the Dolphins, would you?
No, that's right. That's clearly the formula that they're going with right now. Saab being an obvious inclusion. You can't sort of leave him out. As much as he's a bit of a rocks and diamonds type of player, he is one that you have to have, because when he's on, he's really on. The interesting one here for me is how the Dragons are going to look in this game, because I am quite curious to see how they go without Clint Gutherson. I do think this sidelining of Clint has probably been coming for a little while now.
Well, he is injured.
It's been clear that, yeah, I mean, but it's clear that he has been injured for a long time. He's been playing injured. He's been far from his best. So you can tell something is happening biomechanically for him that's causing him to really lose his speed, which was something that even at his peak at Parramatta, he wasn't really known for his speed in the first place. So with this game currently speeding up the way that it has, and with it becoming such a fast, fit man's game, having a sort of lingering knee and leg injury that's slowing you down is really not a position that you want to be in. So it has been something that I know a lot of Dragons fans that I know have been sort of beating down the doors for. They did have a look over the weekend at Trey Fuller from the Dolphins to see if they could get an early release for him to replace Clint at fullback. And there's talks going on now of a positional change for Clint as well. So very interested to see how the Dragons handle this, and I'm very interested to see if any of their sort of leaks and little holes get plugged up with Clint being out of the side. Because as much as we love him here at the Para Cave, we must admit that he has sort of lost it a little bit over this season. So I'm interested to see how it goes, and hopefully a little bit of a sideline stint for him revitalises him and brings him back to the Clint of old.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Wish him all the best in his recovery from his injury. But yeah, the Dragons under a lot of pressure to win their first game of the season. They do tend to step it up down in Wollongong. They have a lot better performances down there for some reason. I can never put my finger on it. They held the Storm, I think, for about 60 minutes in round number 2, I believe. And so, yeah, I don't know what it is about playing down in Wollongong, but
it's a bit of a fast track down there, and a lot's got to be said about the sea air that sort of surrounds you when you're at that stadium as well. It is a very different feeling atmosphere there, and I guess for a visiting team that comes into that kind of environment, it's probably something that they're not quite used to.
Oh, Manly be used to it because they're on the beaches too.
Well, that's exactly where I was about to go, because I have been to watch Manly and the Dragons at Wollongong before, and it was one of the better games I've been to in person. So it is two teams there that definitely understand those atmospheric conditions, and it's two teams that can put on a show. So I'm actually quite interested to see how this game goes. I think this could be a classic, to be honest with you. I don't think, although the Sea Eagles bounced back heavily last week, I don't think that the Dragons have been all that far off recently. So I think this has the opportunity to be a classic.
Yeah, I'm tipping the Sea Eagles. What about yourself?
I'm going to tip the Sea Eagles for now. I haven't actually locked in my tips this week yet, but I am tipping the Sea Eagles for now. I will sort of have a think about it and have a good look at it when I get the chance to do that. It's been a bit of a busy day with the Anzac jerseys and whatnot arriving at the corner post, and a lot of other good stuff as well. And obviously that Easter Monday's thrown us off. So my little sort of routine of checking the team lists and checking the stats and everything before I make a decision's kind of been thrown out the window this week.
Well,
so
you still got a couple of days.
At this stage, I'm going for Manly though, so I think I'll stick with them.
Yep. Same with myself. Queensland Derby is the second game on Friday night, 8 p.m. up at Suncorp Stadium. Now, Adam Reynolds, he has been named to play despite that groin injury, but Reece Walsh and Ben Hunt are obviously out of the side. Jesse Arthurs goes to fullback, and Blake Moser comes onto the interchange bench at number 14. Other than that, not too many other changes. The Cowboys, I think they've got the same team that defeated who'd they play on the weekend? The Dragons, I think, and smashed them. I think it was like 32-0. So Todd Payton
correct.
up against Michael Maguire. I think they call this the 4X Cup, I think, the Queensland Derby. In the past, they've had some cracking games. They've had some games that have just been decided by 1 point, a field goal. But these are two different teams this year. How do you see this one going?
Well, with the news of Walsh and Hunt not making the side, and a very much still injured Adam Reynolds hobbling his way around the field there, I can smell an upset in this game.
Okay, interesting.
I'm not sure about you, but I definitely feel like the Cowboys have proven themselves over the last few weeks and have sort of put themselves into a position where we can have a real good look at them for this kind of boil over upset. Now, I don't think the Broncos were all that good last week. They were playing a very much out of sorts Titans side who although they beat them quite comfortably in the end, the Titans did keep it close for pretty much a majority of the match. Now we saw that out of, I know it's two different teams, but we saw that out of the Dragons and Melbourne game a few weeks ago. That same sort of, big team, little team kind of balancing each other out, and then we saw the Storm go on a bit of a run of bad results. So this one's kind of got the smell of it to me as a potential losing streak beginning for the Broncos, and I think the Cowboys are going to really put it to them.
Interesting. Well, they're pretty well evenly matched, to be honest. I mean, in the points scored department, 124 to the Cowboys, 102 to the Broncos. Points conceded, 112 to the Cowboys, 104 to the Broncos. Average points scored, 24 to the Cowboys, 20 to the Broncos. Average points conceded, 22 to the Cowboys, 20 to the Broncos. So they're pretty well sort of evenly matched. You could very well
What does the head-to-head look like at the stadium?
Well, last year when they played at Suncorp, it was late in March. It was 26-16 to the Cowboys. To the Broncos, and the Broncos beat them up in Townsville as well. So that was last year. Head to head.
How does the Cowboys' record at Suncorp look, though? That's what I'm more curious about.
Haven't got that one with me at the moment. Just talk amongst yourselves. I'll see if I can find it. But look, it's certainly going to be interesting to see how the Broncos respond with those couple of injuries. They are big injuries.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just think maybe the Broncos just still might be able to. It could be like the next man up mentality.
I get where you're coming from there as well, but it's just got a stink of an upset to me. This smells like one of those games where it's sort of the expectations being put on the Broncos to win this one when the Cowboys really aren't that far away from them. So that's kind of why I'm curious about the Cowboys' record at Suncorp, because that sort of does come into play a bit here. If this game was maybe up in Townsville, I'd probably have the Cowboys as a clear favourite, to be honest with you.
Well, they have played, I can tell you now, they have played 22 matches at Suncorp since 2005. Broncos held the advantage, 15 wins to 7. The Broncos do have won the last 3. in a row, so that's going back to 2023. The Cowboys last got a win there in 2022 when they finished top 4. So, and then before that it was win-loss, win-win-loss for Brisbane. So, look, I think it's, Brisbane do hold the advantage at the moment, so that is one thing for them that they have. But I'm going to tip actually the Broncos in this one. What about yourself? Oh, you're smelling an upset, so I'm assuming you're going the
Yeah.
Cowboys.
Well, it might be my bold call of the week. Cowboys
Right.
winning at Suncorp. Maybe we'll make that my bold call.
Nice. Well, a double header over in Perth. Between the first game in Perth on the weekend is the Rabbitohs taking on the Raiders. And look, the Rabbitohs, they've got a couple of wins under their belt. They've had a bye. The Raiders,
They like playing at Perth too.
yeah, they've made the trek
Pretty sure
over.
they've got a pretty good record there.
Yeah, they've made the trek over there the last few years, to be honest, playing against different opponents. And the Raiders, well, they are in 16th spot. They are struggling. Jed Stewart comes in onto the wing. Xavier Savage is out. That's a big out for them. He's a great try scorer. The Rabbitohs, Brandon Smith comes back in after a injury he suffered in the preseason challenge. So he comes back into the hooking spot for the Rabbitohs. Look, the Rabbits, they got that win over the Bulldogs on Good Friday. Jai Gray there at the back, he's playing some pretty good footy. He's probably, I guess, maybe the star of the side at the moment. Obviously, they've got Latrell and Jack White, but I really like Jai Gray at the fullback position.
Yeah, I do too. You've got to consider Alex Johnson in there as well, and David Fafita. They're another 2 big names out of that side as well. One thing I am very interested to hear. I've got 2 things for you on this game. I've got a fun little fact about the South Sydney trip to Perth, and I've got a question for you in regards to the Raiders. So which one would you like first?
Hit me with the fun fact.
All right. So fun fact around this, the Rabbitohs trip to Perth is actually it's been set up by the Minister of Sport, I think, or is it the state minister or something in Perth. He's actually a lifelong South Sydney Rabbitohs fan, and he's a South Sydney Rabbitohs life member, I believe, as well. So that's been largely the reason behind the push to get an NRL side there, which has obviously led to the Perth Bears getting a franchise up there, and it's also been why the South Sydney Rabbitohs have had such a strong connection to Perth over the last 5 or so years. So that's all actually to do with the current government up there, which is a really interesting way to see things made happen.
I think it's actually a premier.
Maybe it is the premier. Yeah. I know it's something pretty high up in government.
Roger?
I'm not a government person.
No, neither am I. I think his name's Roger. I think. I don't know. Could be wrong.
Something like that anyway. But that's the reasoning behind it. It's just purely because he has a lifelong love for the team and he wanted to see him play. So
fair. Why not?
Pretty funny
You're
way
the
for
boss.
that to happen. But why not? Yeah.
And the
now
question?
onto my question about Canberra. Yes, I would. I'm looking at them in 16th place, and I'm thinking, had Ethan Sanders not kicked that field goal, they'd probably be dead last right now. And my question to you here is, would you take Manly winning that game, but Seabold keeping his job, or would you take Manly? Sorry, would you take Manly winning that game and Seabold keeps his job, but it puts Canberra in last, or do you take Canberra winning and Ricky Stewart gets a bit of joy, but one of our hated teams, Manly, loses their coach? Which of those 2 scenarios, if you could pick, would you take?
Do I have to pick one? Because I don't really care, to be honest. Yeah, I mean,
it's 2 teams I don't typically like to see do well, so it's a bit of a funny scenario that we.
It is. It doesn't really worry me. I mean, the way it is, I guess, at the moment, because I mean, even if Manly did win that first game, then they still lost the next 2, 3 games, I think.
2 would have been after that, before they sacked him.
Yeah,
because they had the bye in there as well.
Yeah, so maybe he would have kept his job if he won that first one. And look, the Raiders, well, they're doing a job themselves at the moment, being down the bottom of the ladder. So Yeah,
It's
I
nothing I'd
guess.
love to see more than the Raiders winning a wooden spoon.
Well, I mean, Sean Thomas, he won't like me for saying this, but I want to see Manly win a wooden spoon because they've never won one. So, shout out to Sean. He won't like me for saying that. I might be blacklisted for saying that. Who knows? But yeah, I'd like Manly to win a wooden spoon. I'm pretty sure Canberra have in those early days in 82, 83 or something. I can't remember lately if they've won one, but it's funny how you say win a wooden spoon because no one goes out to win a wooden spoon. But yeah, look, probably, look, if I had to choose one, definitely I'd probably go the first one with Manly. No one likes to see them, someone lose their job, so there you go. The second game over in Perth after that one is the Sharks and Roosters. Now, this one's a really interesting one because the Roosters are in 10th, the Sharks are in 6th spot at the moment. This is a Sharks home game. They three from five at the moment. The Roosters are 2 from 5, so they are struggling at the moment. They need to, they are 2 from 5, but they've also had the bye as well in there. I should say they had that last week against the in the Easter period. So hopefully they haven't eaten too much chocolate over the Easter period, having the week off. But they did get the win over the Sea Eagles before that at 4 Pines. The Sharks, they can score points. We all know the Roosters can as well. But this is a crucial game for the Roosters, isn't it? Just to stay in touch with that top 8.
Well, it absolutely is, and you're definitely right about that. It is a really hard game for me to pick, to be honest with you. These teams are pretty evenly matched up. Now, I think I'm inching towards tipping the Sharks on this one purely because it's a home game for them, but we have also seen them sort of come out in games where you probably expect them to be a little bit better this year and also lay an egg. So we all know the Roosters can match it with the best of them on any given day. Well, I'll tell you what, what's the weather looking like for this game? Is it looking like it's going to be a dry match?
All I've got here on the fancy internet is weather fine. So it is WA
Okay.
after all. I mean, it does rain over there, but it's probably mostly fine all
Oh,
the
this
time.
one's in Perth, is it? Sorry.
Yeah, this is the second of the double
Oh,
header.
sorry. I thought this was in Cronulla. Sorry, my bad. Well, yeah, that really leaves it wide open because you
Yeah.
take away the home crowd advantage from Cronulla there.
Yeah.
Okay, that sort of changes my mind a little bit. I hadn't realised this was in WA. Yeah, no, look, I think give me the Roosters for this one then, if that's the case. I think they're probably a team that travels better. The Sharks don't typically turn up too well to games like Townsville and sort of further north and whatnot. They're a team that often fails to travel well. So we sort of saw that in the final series last year as well. They were complaining about having to travel just to Homebush to play their game there. So we're typically a side that doesn't like travel. So I think I'll take the Roosters in that case.
Well, speaking of,
A fair few players in that Rooster side actually would have played on that turf too, because I believe a fair few of those guys would have played Origin there a few seasons ago as well.
yeah, definitely. And speaking of finals, the Sharks did get them in the finals last season, but that was last year. This is a different year. I'm also tipping the Roosters as well. I think they can bounce back. So from obviously not having the season the start of the season, but we all know that they are slow starters. But I'm tipping the Roosters. Storm and Warriors down in Melbourne is the last game on Saturday night, 7:35. So look, the Storm go into this game as favourites. The Warriors, this is their second away game for the season. And we all know that the Warriors are hard to travel. They are generally they are better at home. Luke Metcalf is out of this game. I think it's a hamstring injury to him. But this Storm side is pretty strong, although they did get smashed by the Panthers last week, and again they've got the 50-point curse on them again. I just can't see them losing 4 in a row, surely.
Well, I can give you a little bit of insider information, having lived in Melbourne for about 15 years of my life. That is a place that is absolutely dominated by Kiwis. That crowd will feel like a New Zealand Warriors home crowd, and that is an experience that you will get in Melbourne and an experience that you will get in Brisbane, which is why the Warriors tend to play so well in both of those places. They have absolutely tremendous away crowd support in those two towns. So this is a classic. This matchup. This is one of the great rivalries. Usually, this is reserved for an Anzac Day rivalry, though, so I'm not quite sure why we're doing this one so early. But it was typically an Anzac Test because we did have the Australia-New Zealand Test, and that sort of got replaced by the Melbourne Warriors game. So I've always enjoyed this one. I went to many of these rivalries while I was living down there in Melbourne over the years, and the game never failed to disappoint. I actually had a really good conversation with a gentleman in the corner post today who was picking himself up some Melbourne Storm gear, and he also has quite fond memories of this matchup as well. So it's one that is definitely loved by the fans of both teams. The Warriors do have a little bit of bragging rights over Melbourne as they've taken them down a few times there at Amy Park. It is a bit of a happy hunting ground for them down there too. So I don't know exactly what the stats would be of the Warriors at Amy Park, but they would be better than a lot of other teams. So this is a matchup that you definitely can't sleep on. And with the way that Melbourne's playing right now, this really could go either way. This has the potential to be an absolute flogging by Melbourne if they really get their asses kicked in training and sort of get the Bellamy treatment. But it also has the potential to be a devastating fourth loss for them as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, last season down at Amy Park, it was on a Sunday afternoon. What have we got? 4 p.m. I think it was. 7 tries to 3, 42 points to 14. So Xavier Coates got himself a double. He's not playing this game. So
that was Melbourne's way, or
Melbourne's way. Yeah, Melbourne's way. But I just can't see Melbourne losing 4. I said that last week, saying I can't see them losing 3, and they got smashed. So they would have had I'm assuming they would have had one hell of a week at training before this game, and I dare say Craig Bellamy would have given them a roasting, and they would have had a hard week at training, I reckon, early on, and just waiting for this game on Saturday. So I can't see them losing this one, definitely. So I'm tipping the Storm in this one.
Yeah, well, the fact of the matter with Melbourne at the moment is that it's a team of players that are disinterested purely for the fact that a lot of them are moving on at the end of the season. Now, we haven't sort of seen this kind of disjointment in Craig's time at the Storm. I believe, did Craig come in 2003 or 2004? I believe the last time Melbourne had this kind of defensive output was 2003. That was the last time they'd had.
I think it was 2003. 2003,
yeah,
I think it was.
So it would have been Craig's first season at the club was the last time that they had 50 points put on them. So it really shows sort of how far between drinks it's been since they were this bad. And obviously the Warriors are flying high right now as well. So this really has the potential to be a boil over, in my opinion.
Okay.
Now it's very, very difficult to tip against the Storm in any circumstance, let alone this one. So I don't know where the money lies on this one at the moment. This is a really hard one to pick. I think on a face value, I'll probably go Melbourne, purely because, like you said, it's very rare that you see them lose 4 in a row. But I'm gonna have the disclaimer on this one, like I did with that Knights game a couple of weeks ago. I would not be surprised to see this one turn into an upset.
Okay. Pick one.
I picked Melbourne.
Okay,
so
there we go.
I'm gonna be smart with the pick.
Okay,
Pick Melbourne,
right.
But
Yep.
I won't be surprised one bit if the Warriors pull this one out. So
Yeah.
if anybody's looking to maybe have a cheeky little hot money tip, maybe put it on the Warriors. They're not bad down there in Melbourne.
but gamble responsibly, obviously. The first game on Sunday, the 12th of April, 2 p.m, is the Eels up against the Titans at CommBank Stadium. This is the third game in a row for the Eels at CommBank Stadium, I do believe. Dragons, Panthers, Tigers. So sorry, this is the fourth game in a row at CommBank Stadium. So very crucial game for the Eels. They sit in 14th. The Titans sit in 15th. The Titans have named an unchanged lineup that went down to the Broncos last week. They didn't do too badly last week against the Broncos, but they didn't get the win, obviously. They will probably rely on Jaden Campbell. Obviously, who else we got? Keanu Kinney at the back there. They've got their big fella, Tino Fasul Malawi. But Parramatta, they are the walking wounded at the moment. They have got a few changes. One due to a HIA to Sean Russell, who is unavailable this week for selection, but Will Penasini comes back this week. I thought it was probably a week early. I don't think he was expected back until the Bulldogs game.
I had heard that he was definitely not playing this week, and then he got named anyway. So
yeah, potentially that
desperation.
Yeah, well, he might have been ready to go anyway. If Sean Russell was fit to play, they might have just given him that one extra week off, just to recover an extra week. But Araz Nanva, he makes his NRL debut on the wing. I don't know too much about him, but he does make his NRL debut this weekend, so congratulations to him. Ronald Volkman comes into the 5/8 spot for the injured Jonah Pezzett. Now, I've just seen that Jonah Pezzett will be out for 4 to 6 weeks, I think, with that hamstring injury. So this is a big test for Ronald to see if he can hold on to that 5/8 spot whilst Jonah is out. Forward pack doesn't change.
He's not been too bad in his limited chances, Ronald. He's had a few little digs at first grade. He's looked pretty decent each time, so I'm not overly uncomfortable with this one.
Yeah, and the rest of the team is unchanged. The forward pack stays the same, and the bench stays the same as well. The only other change, I should say, is Teencum Brown comes into that number 19 jersey, so he may get a run on the weekend, which will be good to see if he does or not. But yeah, definitely a crucial game for the Eels. Look, I don't have to ask you who you're tipping in this one, because I dare say you will be tipping the Eels and not the Titans, but there could be a lot of points.
I'm tipping a team that wears blue and yellow, I'll tell you that much.
Oh, well, the Titans are more aqua anyway, I reckon. Just looking at their logo, I reckon they're more aqua than blue. But look, I think there could be a lot of points scored in this game. 36-20 last year at CommBank Stadium on a Sunday afternoon as well. So 2 losses in a row for the Eels. 1 loss, 1 win for the Titans. They've only had 1 this season. But what are your thoughts on this game? We will do a preview of this game later on in the week. It will probably come out on, I dare say, Friday morning. So give you a couple of days to listen to this preview of this Gold Coast versus Parramatta game. But what's your quick thoughts on this one, Ben?
It's hard to sort of formulate an opinion right now, because we're very much still in the post haze of that Monday night robbery, and we're still very much processing all of these changes, which many of these have been really unseen additions. We really did expect our debut double man to be named in this one, and then all of a sudden it came out right around team list time that he had also suffered a terrible injury. So I think there was also talks of Lorenzo Talatena getting a debut over Ronald Volkman in this game. That could still happen. There could still be a late reshuffle there. We also weren't expecting Petitini to be named in this game, and he seems to be rushed back into the side. So it's all over the place at the moment. I've had many a phone call this afternoon from many an important person, sort of saying, "What do you know? What's going on with this?" And I'm sort of turning around, going, "Well, hang on a minute. I'm usually calling you to figure out what's going on with this." So
Oh, okay.
there's a lot of confusion around this team list. So
I don't think it's confusion. I think it's just, yeah, because, I mean, there's obviously been those lot of injuries, but I don't know about confusion. But everyone was waiting to see who was going to be named, though.
yeah, it's definitely not the 17 that I think we expected to see. So I'm okay with it. I don't mind. I don't mind Raznanva. He's looked pretty good in Cup this year. He's got himself. I don't know his exact figures right now off the top of my head, but he's got himself a few tries in Cup this season, and he's looked good. So I'll back Riles if he thinks he's ready. I'll back him to have that opinion on him. And it's not really like we had much of a choice anyway. So the only other thing we could have realistically done is scrambled for a replacement player today and then rush them into the squad from another team. So I think there's been talks of the likes of Bronson Sherry, who's obviously been named for the Bulldogs. Matt Tomoko at the Raiders, I've heard his name pop up. And we've all heard about the links to Isaac Tago as well. So that would have been the only real other thing that we could have done besides naming Nanva. And even then, that was going to be just as much of a scramble anyway to bring a guy in within a day and have him named and have him ready to play is probably not going to realistically happen. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how they look. I do expect Parramatta to still get the win on this one. I think the Titans are still very far away at the moment. But it's definitely looking a lot more equal than it was maybe a couple of weeks ago. So I'm sort of glad that we're getting this game now and we're not getting this game maybe later on in the season when that Titans team is a little bit more settled. And I'm doubling down on that opinion for next week's game against the Bulldogs as well. They're looking very unsettled at the moment too. So it's probably a good time to get a few debuts in and get a couple of guys sort of up to NRL standard in case we do need them down the track.
Well, yes, I'm tipping the Eels as well for a big victory at home. Look, to the game that could be the game of the round, this one could be. I know last week when we did this preview, I think you had about three or four games of the round. But I think this one...
And they're all classics too in the end. So I wasn't far off.
Well, yeah, I think probably the Parramatta
Except
Tigers...
that Penrith Storm one, that was a classic for a totally different reason.
Yeah, that's right. But this one could be the game of the round. It is the Tigers who are in second position, can you believe it? The Newcastle Knights in third position, could you believe it? Playing at Campbelltown, Sunday afternoon football. Hopefully it's a fine... what are we in? Autumn? Are we in autumn?
I'm not a seasons guy.
No, neither am I. What are we in?
It's a little bit colder out than it usually is, and it's darker at night. So
I think we're in autumn. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say
because then it comes winter, then spring, and then summer. Yeah, I think we're in autumn.
Knowing your seasons presented by the Paracave podcast.
Yeah, if I'm wrong, let me know. I don't mind copping a bit of abuse. How could you not know the seasons? Anyway, it's football season. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, could you believe that it's the Tigers in second, the Knights in third? This is the game of the round, I reckon. The Tigers, well, their winger is out. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so I'm not going to butcher it. First name Luke. He was the one that did the tackle on Bailey Simonson. He is.
That is Lauli'i.
Okay, there we go. Thank you.
He's also just signed with the Perth Bears as well to join his brother over there. So he's gone from having himself sin binned and almost costing his team the game, or should have probably rightfully cost his team the game, and then the next day he goes ahead and gets himself suspended and signs for another club. So bit of a strange 24 hours for him.
That's it. And Jarrell Skelton comes in for him. Unfortunately for the Knights, they've got another major injury to a star. Bradman Best is out. Unfortunately, still no Kalen Ponga and Dylan Brown, but they've been travelling quite all right without them. Fletcher Sharp and Sandon Smith in the halves, they have been going pretty well. Dylan Lucas, the second rower as well, and Dane Gagai in the centres. Dom Young has been scoring length of the field tries. Yeah, this could be a toss the coin game. The first round last year it was a 10-8 win to the Knights at Campbelltown, but then the Tigers got them up at Newcastle 20 points to 4. So both teams coming off two wins out of the last 3. How do you see this one going?
I see this one going either way. This is very much, very, very, very much a potential of a classic. I think the game of the round will be decided between this one and that Roosters and Sharks game. I know I did mention that Storm and Warriors game in there as well, but that one I think is going to be a classic for probably very different reasons. So this one has the potential to be one of those groundbreaking finishes like we did see with the Para-Tigers game. I'm very, very high on the Knights right now, and I have been for a fair few weeks. I've really been singing their praises, and they've really become a team that I enjoy watching. I've gone from having them as my wooden spoon as preseason to having them as a genuine threat now. So really, really liking what they're doing down there in Newcastle. But in saying that, another person that I'm really high on is Gerald Skelton. Now, I have had a few... I've had a few personal run-ins with Gerald over my time. He's somebody that was involved in a previous friend group that I've been involved in, and somebody that I don't know him personally, but I do know many a story about him. And from all accounts, he's a really, really great kid, and he's very much a gentle giant. So he's absolutely full of talent, that kid, and he has the potential to be a superstar in this league, just like his brother was in rugby, actually. So he is related to Will Skelton in the rugby union. So anybody who watches union and knows the Skelton name, it's the same family, and he's just as good. So seeing his name pop up on the team sheet finally this season has brought me a little bit of joy as well. So I'm very, very interested to watch this one. I'm not interested in tipping this one because I don't know where it's going, but I'm going to have to make a pick, so I'll think of one in a minute. But this one's going to be one of those games you can just sit back, kick your feet up, and just watch it and enjoy some footy because it's going to be a classic. Yeah,
well, the Tigers do have the better defensive record. The Knights do have the better points scoring record.
And the longer injury list.
Well, yes, that's true. I mean, it's an unchanged team, or one change to the Tigers, and also one change to the Knights as well. But I'm going to tip the Tigers in this one, to be honest. Sorry, Lincoln from the United podcast. He's on a high at the moment. He actually drove from McDonald Jones Stadium after the game on... When was that game? Sunday, I think it was, wasn't it? Sunday? Last week's game again?
I think
no,
so,
Saturday.
yeah.
Saturday, I think. No, it's Sunday.
Oh,
it was Sunday, I think.
I was too hopped up on Easter eggs to remember what day it was.
Yeah, look, I think Newcastle played on Sunday.
I'm still struggling with the fact that it's Tuesday now, to be honest.
Yeah, look, I think Newcastle played on Sunday. He actually drove from McDonald Jones Stadium after the game, backed up to Brisbane, and got home about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. So, big effort from them to get back to the United bar. But, sorry, Lincoln.
Especially in this fuel economy.
Yes. Sorry, Lincoln. I'm going to tip the Tigers, unfortunately, in this one. That's the...
I might go against you just for fun on this one and tip the Knights, to be honest.
Well, that could be...
I do like what they're doing.
This could be the game that decides a lot of perfect rounds, maybe, I think. Potentially. I don't know.
How did you go on your tipping last round, actually? Because I was, up until the Eels game, I'd only lost one tip, so
yeah,
I actually had a much better week.
I only got 4 out of 8, so that's no good. But the Dolphins... They cost me last week. They have the bye this week, so they won't cost me this week. So that rounds out the round for round number 6. Pretty comprehensive preview there. Some exciting games that we should look forward to. Hopefully we can tip a perfect round, or they're close to it. That will be great. I still haven't used my Joker round yet, so I don't know if I'll pop it out this week. I'm falling a bit behind, so I might do that. But anyway, nevertheless, Ben, thank you very much for joining me for this NRL Round 6 preview. And we will catch you once again for the Eels vs Titans preview in a couple of days' time.
It has been an absolute pleasure to be back after quick hiatus on the match review podcast. And don't forget, everybody out there, come and see us at the Corner Post to get your Anzac jerseys and Anzac shorts. We've got the footy shorts in, the playing shorts in for the Anzac jerseys as well. So we'll get some social media content going up there really soon about that, and we'll show those off, and we might even do like a live show coming up soon sometime this week, and we'll show those off there as well. So limited stock, do have a little bit of stock at the moment, so come in and get them while they're hot and get ready for Anzac Day.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks for listening to another